Hello everyone, Bruno Luce here from GLB Productions. Today is the 23rd of March 2015 and about 6 hours ago Lee Kuan Yew passed away. Lee Kuan Yew was our first Prime Minister, and up until his death he exercised a lot of power and influence over the government. Now, many of you may not realize that I'm Singaporean. Many of you may not even have made the connection through watching the videos. My full name is actually Bruno Go Luce. I'm half Chinese. My mum is Singaporean Chinese and my father is American. So that explains the way that I look. But I was born here and I've lived almost all of my life here. I was born in Singapore in the 70s when Lee Kuan Yew was very much at the height of his power. And I remember in those days watching the National Day Parade on television, and you'd always see him, always dressed in his white and white. Politicians in Singapore traditionally wear white. It's a symbol of purity, a symbol of a lack of corruption. And that was one of the cornerstones of his philosophy. Many people talked about getting rid of corruption. He really did. And I remember there was one picture a while ago, and it showed all the members of the cabinet watching the parade with binoculars because obviously if you want to see the detail from the grandstand in the stadium, you have to have binoculars. And at the end of the row, Lee Kuan Yew was there, and he wasn't using binoculars. And the caption that somebody had thought up was "Man with vision." And I think that sums him up perfectly. He had a vision and nobody was going to stand in his way. Lee Kuan Yew was our Prime Minister for 31 years. And after he stepped down in 1990, he became Minister Mentor, or MM for short. And you know, we always used to joke when I was in school about him going from being PM Lee to being MM Lee, and there were various jokes about M&Ms and that sort of thing. But he was still there through the Prime Ministership of Goh Chok Tong in the 90s, and then his son Lee Hsien Loong, who is still our Prime Minister today. He was always there. He was always Uncle Lee. He was always looking after things. We saw him less and less as he grew older, but he was never far from our minds. As they say, Singapore today would not be what it was without him. Now he's gone, and we are left to reflect, and we are left to move on. I remember a video clip from 1965 when Singapore became independent. It's one that every Singaporean knows. And it is of him crying on national television when he realized that his dream of a Singapore and Malaysia united was not going to work. And there's this moment at the end. He says, "This is a moment of anguish." And then he says, "Do you mind if we stop for a while?" I think it's time that we as a nation stop for a while. Singapore is a very busy place. It's a place of constant change, of constant hustle and bustle. But it's time to stop for a while and think about where we are and where we have come from. Singapore is a small town. If you look at the numbers, it seems to be a big city. But really, we all know each other. If you're Singaporean and you open your mouth overseas, I'll spot you. Even though we all look different and we all have different backgrounds, different races, different religions, there's much that is the same. We're going to have to take responsibility now. Uncle Lee is not going to be around to tell us what to do. He knew this time was coming. And I think he always knew that there would be a time when the country that he built would have to stand on its own. This is a huge time for Singapore and for Singaporeans. As always, mistakes were made and we will continue to make them. But I'd just like to say to our former Prime Minister and our Commander-in-Chief, thank you, sir, for the many years. Thank you, sir, for all that you have done. Thank you, sir, for basically giving your life to create what we have today. We'll take it from here. Now, the government has declared a period of national mourning from today to the 29th of March. The funeral will be on Saturday, and as a mark of respect to the family of Mr. Lee, I will not be uploading any videos for the next week. I think it's a time when we all have to do some thinking about who we are and where we are going. So thanks for watching. Let's stop for a while. This is Bruno Luce for GLB Productions. I'll see you in April. Goodbye.